Hi guys, we're back with another video. I felt like the last one, which was the EK versus Action 30-minute long demo commentary, which had lots of pausing and stuff, was a bit long-winded, so I felt like making a summary video to kind of show off the major points that I learned or saw were worth talking about in the game that I covered previously. So the first thing is take efficient fights. Now this is obviously something that you don't need to like be a genius to understand that this is a fundamental aspect of all the Quake, taking fights that are efficient, and that's something that's common sense. But it's always good when you look at your play to look at situations where you basically don't take efficient fights, because the more you get yourself to think about these fights that you're taking, the more you're going to actually go eventually, and you're going to go to a game and be like, shit, wait a second, I shouldn't do this thing that I usually do, because actually that's kind of bad. What about this? It's just to get you in the right mindset. So the situation in the game that really highlighted this for me was when I got a rocket launcher, when we were basically locked out from the start. I get my first rocket launcher, and what do I do with it? I go up here and I go up the jump pad and die to someone with an LG who's standing at the top. I'm almost never ever going to kill that guy. It's not even worth thinking about it. It's like you will never really think about hitting your royal flush in poker, because it's just the chances of it happening are so low that it's completely retarded to base any sound judgments from it. So going up there, I can gain nothing, and my team can gain nothing from it. So it's clearly like it's an inefficient situation I put myself in, where the other guy has an efficient fight, an advantage with an LG. I'm going up a jump pad, I can't dodge. It's a perfect situation for him. So it's completely stupid that I did that, inefficient fight. And basically I just want to emphasize these kinds of things, because it's always really good. Sorry about the LG hum, Jesus Christ. Oh my god, the LG hum is everywhere. Let's go over here. It's always good to think about these things, because basically you need to train your brain to recognize situations so that you're in game and you can subconsciously go, bang, I'm not going to do this thing because that's inefficient, and you're going to do something else. Because that's the main thing that people will do wrong, is they'll take fights which they shouldn't take. And there is an exception to the rule, and the exception is when is in TDM only, more or less, because in TDM, and well, it's CTF as well, but who cares about CTF, right? But in TDM, you have teammates, so you can take an efficient fight. Like, for example, in DM7, when everyone is running into the railgun and red room, you're basically at a disadvantage, and your fight is going to be inefficient, because you're coming out the doorway, you have nothing and they might have something. But the combined power of your team basically makes that situation change in nature, and as a team it is actually an efficient way to take the fight, but it's not individually an efficient way to do it. Another example is on DM14, when you have someone going first, when you have the power up, you get the quad, and you get the guys to go first because you want them to take the damage. Well, they're going to jump out from the corner and take stupid amounts of damage. It's really inefficient, but then your quad gets in with taking no damage and kills everyone. So it's those kinds of situations you've got to start programming into your brain. And so that's the first thing. I don't want to take too long in this video because it's a summary video. I could talk for days about this kind of stuff. Positional play. Now we're going to get to the map specific stuff. As I haven't played this map much, I'm learning all the time on good positions and what I want to be looking for. And one thing I noticed was when you're doing a setup on this map, like a way to think about this map is you have red, right, and you have this little position where the jump pad is overlooking this half of the map, which has, like, if you cut the map in half, right, from this position, and we cut it in half from the mega and all the way here to the quad rail, right, if you're holding the red armor side of the map, your ideal way to be holding this, as far as I can currently see, is to make sure obviously that you control this jump pad, because if they're coming up, because the best fights that they're going to be able to take to the red armor if they want to attack it are up this jump pad, because attacking from up here is much better than attacking from below, where they have to go up jump pads and they get the height disadvantage. It's much better if they're attacking from here. So this is an area which you really need to control. You always need to have someone standing around this area at the jump pad. It's something I learned. And you need to really, I mean, I'm going to come down to this, but this is a team coordination thing as well. So if we think about this map in the way that it's split, something that I learned from watching that demo was that something that Action were doing really well to undermine the control, the red armor control, and overall map control of EK was getting players going low, sneaking low, and getting into this, getting some rails. And again, this is going to be an item timing thing as well. Everything ties in together, and they were getting these sweet spots from back here, and kind of undermining our control by playing this back area. Oh, I can't invert my mouse for some reason. That's why I can't move. But basically, like, you can't allow this to happen. You can't allow the other team, if you're holding red, you can't allow them to get to controlling these back areas around quad, because it can be quite damaging overall. So yeah, this position is really strong to make sure that if you're going to leave red completely alone, you're going to want the guy who's there alone to actually be standing here and not somewhere else. Like, he doesn't need to stand at the red, because let's look at this, right? So unless someone spawns on the red side of the map, there's no way they can get here to this area without your guy up here around the jump pad, like, seeing them jump across or hearing them jump across. So there's no way they can do that, and if he does, he can drop down here, and he's got this little angle here, and he can get more information if he really needs to, and then jump back up the jump pad. That's really nice, right? The other thing is, sure, they might spawn there, so how do we deal with that? Well, if we have a guy who's in charge of rail and so on, he's really going to be needing to take these angles. So if we're assuming the way that Elite Killers played this setup on this map with 3 guys on the red side, we really want to have a guy here controlling this area with rails and so on, and hopefully taking the rails too. And we really want someone on the jump pad. And what do we do with the third guy? Well, I haven't distinctly decided, but I feel like he is. It's going to be kind of like on DM14, right? So on DM14, usually when you're controlling red, sure, you're doing it with 4 people, but usually there's one guy who's kind of not really got a distinct job, because you have the shotgun, you have the rocket launcher, and you have the railgun on DM14, right? So basically, you're going to have this one guy who's just there to be able to swap with other people if they get low. And I think that it's a similar deal on this map. You want someone that's able to help areas as they need to be helped. And if you can get like a really tight setup here, I think it could be quite strong. I mean, of course, this is a theory, this is all theory stuff, but that's the best place to start when you're trying to learn how to play a map. So how would we go about getting these strong positions? Well, there are lots of situations in the demo that I saw that we had 3 players actually on this red area. And if we get 3 players on this red area, all we need is for one guy to go to the jump pad, and then bam, it's safe. This area is safe. Okay, the only thing he has to worry about is this teleporter, or if there's enemy railers. If there's enemy railers, it's a horrible situation, and it's going to have to be a judgment call on how you play it. But otherwise, he can take this spot, and he's only got the teleporter to really worry about. So when we have another guy who can then endeavour to get to this side of the map and try and control this side of the map, and not only is he controlling this side of the map, he's able to see quite a lot, so he can give information to teams and get to the team and get good rail shots and rail angles and stuff like that. So this guy can basically stop people from going through this teleporter, or at least provide a warning. And he doesn't even have to, if he hears someone jumping around down there, he doesn't even have to go down to see. He can just hear and just basically say to his teammate, it could be someone going through the teleporter, like watch the teleporter, or something like that. So you basically have these 2 sides covered, and with good team communication, you can really, I think, get a lot out of this kind of setup. I think this could work quite well. And if we move on to the next thing, which is item timing. By the way, I'm not really talking about Garpy's role, because we didn't see it in the video. So, but I'd definitely be interested to follow stuff up with that. But let's just stick to the 3 red guys in this video. So item timing, Mega always has to be timed. It just has to be timed on the second. You have to be able to just drop onto it. It's like DM6 1-on-1 Mega. You need to just be able to drop on the Mega when it spawns. It's in such a horrible position, and the universal rule when an item of interest is in a horrible position is to have extremely strict item timing on it, because you can't be out. Because if you drop on it, you lose all of your position. Look at the amount of places you can be attacked from. This is ridiculous. So it better be worth it when you drop down here. You better get the Mega, because otherwise you're going to be taking really inefficient fights. So there's that. And this is something you can really coordinate between your team well, between the red guys. Red timing isn't super important to keep it really strict. It's just important that people are taking it, and the reason for that is because conversely, unlike the Mega, the red armor is in a very good position, so you can be a little bit more lax with the item timing on it. And the timing of the rail, of course, is extremely important too, because it's something that can be easily stolen by the enemy if you're not careful. So isn't there supposed to be a teleporter here? That's kind of weird. So yeah, the rail needs to be taken every time it spawns. Like, it really does. I mean, if you can't take it, you better be damn sure that you can kill the people who are trying to take it. And if we move on to team coordination, just gonna go over again. You really need to be able to have, when you like first set up control here, and let's say you have the 3 players who all were flooding into red, and you won the fight at red. Okay, we've all got reds. So now what do we need to do? We need to get someone up here. We need to get someone on the mid level around the rail, making sure he sweeps the rails, times the rails, gets the angles. And it'd be super great if you could get someone up here with a rail, but I think it's actually not something that's you should go out of your way to try and achieve. I think this guy is enough, and I think often you're gonna run into situations where multiple team members will have a rail, and then you'll basically go, I have the rail, so I'll do this position. So you need to coordinate that with your team. You basically need to understand who can do what. It's much like DN14, where on DN14 you switch people in and out of the railgun position, and you make sure that when you're low on armor, that's when you get the switch, and you switch the appropriate people who have got the right weapons to do the job, and that's basically what it comes down to. If we look at Quadrunning, Quadrunning was an interesting one. I'm not really 100% sure, but the general rule about Quadrunning is, at least in Quake World, the games are very dissimilar. In this game it's a lot more about getting frags, but the way I would choose to do this is when you take the quad, your first consideration in your head should be, right, is red safe? Bam, I'm at red. Red is safe. Get your teammates onto their positions at red. Okay, now is the BS dead? If no, then I'll try and kill him. If the BS isn't dead, then I'm going to try and make my way in a sneaky fashion to try, into these back areas if these aren't under control, and try and run these. Usually we have Garpy running these areas, but if he's having a hard time and we're doing really well at red, we're kind of assured the quad, so we can really help him out by, if we get that quad, taking these back areas and extending our control to the other side of the map while still having dominant red control. So that's kind of the basic summary of this map. I probably went into way too much detail. I have a tendency of trying to do that, so I apologise for that. And I apologise for this freaking LG sound. I really should have turned the sound off. I apologise for that. But there we go. I hope that was informative. I'll probably do a new overlay because this one doesn't go very well with QuakeLive. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, and see you later.